Good morning. Don't you love the way meditation connects you with what's really going on? I was meditating this morning and I didn't realize that I was anxious until I started noticing what was going on inside of me when I got quiet and stopped doing and thinking and just just looking inside of myself, without all of those outer distractions, it's easier to see what's going on inside. And what I noticed inside was this kind of vibration of anxiety. Sorry, I have cat hairs every day. And there are certain things going on that might be causing me anxiety at this time. And I'm also aware that one of my, not quite an anxiety, but a little concern, is that I'm not being 100% thorough in the information that I present here. And what I mean is that there are things that I can't quite fit into. Sorry, got a frog today. Can't quite fit into the 13 minutes that I'm seeming to aim for. And sometimes little bits escape my mind at the moment that I'm recording, and I don't want to sit here and pause for too long while I try to recover that. And what that ends up meaning is that there are certain little bits that I don't express to you and that I think about later, and I wish I could have been more comprehensive. For instance, when I was talking the other day, several videos back, about the meditation where you can sit beside yourself, so to speak, in the temple of your heart. You imagine sitting beside your higher self. And I didn't really go into a lot of detail about how that can work and how that can play out. And, one of the things that I like best about that is that sometimes when my little self is in an unhappy or worried state, or just not feeling very well, I guess, emotionally, my higher self will often just embrace the little self and hold it. And that's such a lovely thing that I want to share it with you. And it goes against my nature to not be really comprehensive. When I leave things out, I always wonder if people will get the wrong impression or of the practice, or there are, ways they could use it that I'm not sharing, or things to be aware of. Or, for instance, this morning in my meditation, when the anxiety came up, I was, for one thing, not sure what I would say when I turned on the video today, but I find myself not really talking about what happens then. I got distracted into this other level of discussion. So, okay, what happens when the anxiety comes up? What happens is, or whatever it is that's coming up, our minds generally go, oh, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm whatever. What do I do with that? What do I do about it? How do I fix that? It's very much an ego mode to identify these things and judge them as problems and then try to fix them. which is funny because it's the ego that causes these problems in the first place. And then it's like, Kyle Cease talks about that, about how the ego makes up these things to be worried about and then gets all worried about them, forgetting that it's the one that made them up in the first place. And then gets on board with you like, okay, let's fix this. How are we going to fix this? And it's just this lovely little game that the ego plays with itself, running, chasing its tail in circles all the time. So the first thing to address that question, the first thing that I think you can do, the best thing maybe to do, is to notice that you're slipping into the fixing, judging mode. And instead just taking a step back from that and going, this is what is. It's not a problem. It's just what's going on in me right now. And I can just observe that and be with it. And that very act of witnessing is pretty much all that's required. Like, that's what your body wants. It gets these feelings, these energies, these manifestations like illnesses and accidents and various weird things that go on with the body, because it's trying to communicate. It's trying to wake you up, and the less we pay attention to those things, the louder it has to try to get to catch our attention. For instance, if we're paying attention in our daily meditation, we notice these things, then the body doesn't have to go, oh, she's really not noticing this. I'm going to start getting a pain in my elbow, or I'm going to grow a wart on my toe, or whatever it is that your body needs to do to communicate symbolically what's going on inside of you. So, backing up, the first thing to do is just to notice and observe and witness, and that's all your body wants. And as soon as you've witnessed it to the degree that your body feels is necessary, just lets it go. It's no longer needed. And it's not like we can do that in order to get the result of the body letting go, because then we're not really listening, then we're still striving to control or to make something happen. We're still judging and rejecting what's really going on, what's going on for us in the moment. So, having said that, that's basically what I wanted to say, what came to me to say about that today. And so here I am again at this point where that's not everything that should be communicated about that. There are so many more things that I want to share about that process. And it's just not in my nature to do these little bits of things, which is part of why, there are lots of reasons, but that's part of why this video practice is a practice for me. I'm actually having to experiment with not being comprehensive. If you've taken my course, A Year in a Day, you know that I am very thorough. I like to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and draw all the connections. Even in that course, for A Year in a Day, it's an intensive spiritual training program, and it's really wonderful in that way. And there are still things I had to cut out of it that I'm, going, I wish I could, that really needs to be in there, or I go through that all the time. So I'm facing my own pattern of being comprehensive and needing to encompass everything. This is in a way, it's my superpower. So it's not like it's a totally bad thing, but I want to show the connections between everything and bringing it all together into this, so that it makes sense, so that you can really see all of the connections and all of the layers and all of the aspects and all of the, still I'm trying to be comprehensive. Let's just skip that. You get my point, right? So, experimenting with not being comprehensive. And in a way, I think that brings more faith into it. I need to have faith that you as a listener or a reader can find more pieces for yourself, can, connect the dots yourself, can track down the missing pieces yourself, whatever it is that needs to happen. And that I don't have to lay it all out on a platter like a buffet for you. I can let you go a la carte a little. and that's okay. That's still going to serve you well, and who knows, maybe even serve you better in some ways. So that's why I'm experimenting with this, and also because it's what's going on in me, and I'm facing this pattern that I have of discomfort and basically discomfort around not being comprehensive. Experimenting with, just playing it a little looser, and that'll be okay. So I wonder, can you find patterns in yourself today that are a little less comfortable for you? Ways of doing things you identify with, that's just who I am, that's just how I am, that's how I do things, that's how I'll roll. And experimenting with doing them a different way, because that is a nice way to shake down the ego's grip a little bit as well. Because it's the ego who says I am, I do, I like, I dislike. And any of those patterns, even on this level, they're more subtle, but they're saying, ego is rearing its head and saying, wait a minute, I'm not sure about this. Like that alien thing in Alien. I'm not sure about this. I'm not comfortable with this. Is this safe? Is this good? Am I going to be liked, or whatever it is that our concerns may be? That's a very common human one. So yeah, just experiment with that today if you can, and try loosening it up a little bit and see what kind of a difference that makes for you. Anyway, that's all for today. I don't know what I've talked about, but hopefully it was helpful, and I'm sure it was useful for something, and for a reminder for myself, if nothing else, that it's okay to do this and not be comprehensive at all times. So with that, I wish you blessings on your day, and I will chat with you again tomorrow. Blessed be.